trying to apprehend someone, trying to determine exactly what transpired here after shots fired. Again, 3 officers we know have been confirmed shot and injured. Reports of a 4th officer also hurt here at the scene. And as we continue to watch, police officers bringing in the heavy artillery, SWAT team members, ATF, the strike force, trying to bring some type of resolution here in this neighborhood as residents are told to either stay inside or brought away to a safe distance. Certainly, many people who live here are wondering exactly what has happened to their community. We've heard it. Bob Brooks interviewed one person talking about hearing the gunshots over and over and over again while they were at home, and certainly feeling very afraid as to exactly what is transpiring here. Do we want to go back to Sarah?
We do. Let's check in with Sarah Blomquist, who is also helping us cover this unfolding situation. Sarah, what are you learning?
Yeah, again, what you said at the moment, 3 Philadelphia police officers have been shot, a 4th injured. All of them rushed to the hospital. This happened one after the other. You saw that first officer, we believe was shot in the hand or hands, went to the hospital. And then rapidly after that, other officers were shot here on the scene. A very, very tense situation. It's unclear at the moment just how many shooters or if there's one shooter or multiple shooters inside this house. They're trying to figure that out at the moment. But again, this all unfolding here in the 3700 block of North 15th Street. We're coming up close to an hour on this now, this extraordinarily tense situation. I can't think of a time this has happened where we've had multiple officers shot like this consecutively here in the Tioga Nicetown section. This is all unfolding. The SWAT team is doing their work. They have brought in that heavily armored vehicle. That's part of the reason why we have been asked to back away as they try to bring this to a peaceful resolution here in the Tioga Nicetown section of the city. There are police officers as far as Broad and Erie staging as they work to monitor this situation and try and figure out what's going on here. That's part of the issue. It's just difficult to know. There's been so much gunfire, even back and forth. They don't know how many people they may be dealing with inside of this home here. So it's been a chaotic situation. This is also a residential neighborhood, as you can see. So they need to make sure that all of the residents stay safe and stay back as well. People came toward the scene trying to see what was going on, so they had to move those people back as well. But again, 3 officers shot here in the city of Philadelphia this afternoon. Reports of a 4th officer injured as well. They had multiple uniformed police officers respond to the scene. This is a situation where the call goes out citywide, and so officers from all across the city rush here to the scene. It was far too dangerous to have all those officers converging on this one street out there in the open with these shots being fired directly at them. So they moved back a lot of those uniformed police officers, but we have been able to see some of them taking cover there behind the cars in just extraordinary scenes as we watched live, as we could see bullets ricocheting right across this residential street. Multiple gunshots fired out of this home here on the 3700 block of North 15th Street. Initially, we heard 1 officer hurt, then a 2nd officer hurt. Now we know 3 shot. Reports of a 4th officer injured here in the Tioga Nicetown section of the city. Those officers, of course, taken to Temple University Hospital, where some of the top brass will go there as well to check on their condition. But they are staging near this scene as well. This takes a coordinated effort to make sure that everybody stays safe and they figure out how to move in to this scene in a way that brings it to a peaceful resolution and to ensure the safety of these officers here right now in this extraordinarily dangerous situation. Shari and Rick.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And as we mentioned, we do have Action News reporters at the scene, certainly keeping a safe distance.
Rick, we're right up to the yellow tape. This is as far as we can get, and of course we do want to maintain a safe distance, as do all of the police officers that you can see right behind me now, lining up against this wall to ensure that they are not hit by any gunfire. We're standing on the 3600 block of North 15th Street, so what you're looking at is past Erie. That is where the shooting scene is going on right now, and that's why you see officers lining up against this wall, taking cover just in case. Now, they've They've asked residents to stay inside their homes. You do not see any residents out and about behind this yellow tape, but you can understand people are peeking out. They're coming out. They want to see what's going on. They hear the helicopters above them, and they're interested to hear what's happening, but they've also been hearing gunshots throughout the entirety of this afternoon since 4 o'clock. Again, just giving you a scene setter here of exactly what we're looking at, and as close as we can get as possible, of course, while maintaining that safe distance. All of the police officers now lining the sides of the streets, most of them on our side here. Some of them have left the scene already. They did want to clear out because initially it was an all hands on deck, all police officers from all around the city gathering here right now. There are still some officers in the middle of the street, but of course they're a safe distance away, and they're standing behind squad cars. This is exactly what we're looking at here. We just arrived, so I'm looking forward to talking to some of the people who were here earlier and who saw and heard more of what happened, getting their accounts and understanding exactly what's going on. As you can see in the middle of the street right now, there are a lot of officers who are kind of making a move along 15th Street. They feel comfortable that they can cross the street. Not exactly sure what that is indicative of. There may be a large majority of officers here that now have to move on to posts throughout the city. But you can see they're walking towards us right now, all of them wearing their bulletproof vests. We've also seen the strike force here from the police department and police from the Attorney General's office as well. Bike officers, and I mean just a large swarm of officers, and of course the helicopters circling above, but it's also attracting a lot of attention from the neighborhood. They want to know what's going on. People have been asking me as we're running up to the scene, how many officers are injured, what's happening, is everybody okay? And of course we're trying to get that information for them while we remain a safe distance. But you could just hear gunshots right now. You saw all of these officers start ducking and getting towards the wall. Of course, you can hear that there's still gunshots going on now, and it's, let's see, 5:30, at least an hour after the first gunshots or the first reports of gunshots.
Okay,
Rick,
Maggie,
sorry.
Thanks, Maggie.
For that account where you are on the other side of 15th Street. We also have Action News reporter Bob Brooks on the scene. And Bob, I know you can hear us. Maggie just saying she heard more gunshots. What's happening from your vantage point?
Yeah, Shari, I'm standing right next to the camera. You can see officers running around on the corner taking cover. You see some up in the lot where they were standing. Look at them, they're taking off right now. We just heard another round of gunfire, about 6 or 7 shots right now. It appears that they're starting to congregate behind that home that has that sign that says Evans right behind it. We see a cluster of officers there. Also, still some officers up in that field. What I can tell you is right before that last round of gunfire, we saw police moving, leaving one area up here right at the intersection. It looked like they were all converging onto another area behind that building that you can see right in front of us. And maybe they were trying to make some kind of move or bring this to an end to some degree. We know there's at least, I'm counting off the top of my head right now, 50, 60 officers out here. A very dangerous situation nonetheless.
Bob, let us just ask you this. Bob,
from where this gunfire is happening.
Bob, do
Yes.
you need to move a bit back from where you are? You let us know if you need to have a moment. And
No.
Okay. We want to make sure that our crews are as safe as
sorry.
possible. Okay.
More gunfire's happening right now. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. There was just another round of gunfire. I want to make note, though, we are safe according to where the police have put us. They feel like this is safe enough from where we are right now.
Okay, great. That's what we wanted to know. This situation is changing quickly. We've seen officers moving left to right surrounding this home. So we want to make sure that safety is priority because we see the danger that has unfolded already. 3 police officers confirmed already shot in this incident. A 4th officer we are hearing reportedly also injured. So we know that this situation is incredibly dangerous.
Continuing to unfold, dramatic moments. And again, Bob, we're glad you're in a safe space, but we want to continue to talk to you. You just heard gunshots fired.
I'm here.
When you arrived here, what was an hour ago, you heard the same situation, gunshots firing as well. So it has been a fluid situation, but also a dangerous situation, not only from residents, members of the media like yourself, but even police officers here in this community of Tioga Nicetown.
Yes, it has. So when we first got here to the scene about an hour ago, it was just sort of getting underway to a degree that this standoff, what we see right now, was happening. And so we got right up to the intersection of 15th and the 3700 block. And as soon as we were starting to set up to be live down here from the scene, we heard a big round of gunfire. And at that point, the crowd hadn't been moved back, so everybody started pretty much running for their life. Police officers telling us to get back. The crowd, there's dozens and dozens of people behind me right now
So let me
watching
give you
this
this
all
update,
unfold.
Bob. We
They
are
all
now
took
getting
off.
a
We
bit
got
of an
behind a
update.
car. So it's been a very dangerous situation, to say the least. But it looks like some officers are leaving from where they are right now. Not sure what has happened. Again, Shari and Rick, still very fluid down here at the scene.
Bob, we are just getting confirmation that the number now is 4 officers shot, but the wounds are non-life-threatening. The injuries, non-life-threatening. But we can now confirm 4
That's good
Philadelphia
news.
police officers have been injured. Just so you know what's happening here, we still have your camera view and vantage point up. Your microphone is still open with us here, Bob, as we are taking the live look from your camera. But for those of us who may just now be joining us, this all began to unfold just before 4:30 this afternoon. Philadelphia police telling us that they were engaging an active shooter situation in North Philadelphia in the Tioga Nicetown neighborhood there. So from that, Chopper 6 was able to capture video of at least 2 of those 4 wounded officers leaving from this scene and being taken to Temple University Hospital. So we know that those 4 officers are being treated at Temple University Hospital, and we want to go live there now, where Action News reporter Gray Hall has been reporting from there. And Gray, you have seen dozens of officers gathering there to check on their fellow brothers.
Indeed, Shari, and what a difficult and dark day for the city of Philadelphia and this police department. We can tell you just moments ago, we saw the Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner coming in right here to the trauma center here at Temple University Hospital. Before that, we saw what appeared to be a family member of one of these injured officers being whisked into the bay here, getting out of the car and rushing into the hospital. But again, throughout the last several hours, this ER has been flooded with activity, flooded with officers. We can also confirm to you that the FOP president, Fraternal Order of Police, he is here. Cannot confirm that we've seen the mayor yet, but earlier today we thought we saw what was the commissioner being whisked here to Temple University to check on these injured officers. We're also told they may be preparing to bring in that 4th injured officer here to Temple University Hospital. But as you can imagine, when these officers get here, they are coming here with a purpose and a mission of checking on their fellow injured officers and hoping for the best for those injured officers. At this point, of course, we don't know the extent of the injuries, but as you take this live look here outside of the ER at Temple University, you can see what is so customary when we have an officer-involved shooting. You see dozens of officers gathered around, chatting, talking, briefing each other, and just, you know, essentially supporting each other. And I can tell you, I'm not sure what our photographer, Rich Lacavere, is on right now, but DA Larry Krasner is there in a black suit, red tie, being briefed on the situation. We're hoping that eventually an official will come here to the cameras and microphones and give us an update. But again, Shari and Rick, this is just a devastating and heart-wrenching day for the city of Philadelphia and this police department. Dozens of officers continue to gather here at Temple University. Again, we did see what we thought was a family member being rushed here, but we'll stay out here on the scene and bring you the very latest. Back to you guys.
All right.
Okay, Gray.
Thank you, Gray. And if there's any good news to come out of this, the 4 officers shot, non-life-threatening injuries. As we continue to go back to the scene live, this is 15th and Pacific, one of our vantage points from our Action News cameras at the scene as we take a look at members of the SWAT team They have assembled here as well. We've seen, again, a steady presence of Philadelphia police officers, ATF, members of the SWAT team, the strike force, heavy artillery, just an army of police officers here trying to bring safety to this community of Tioga Nicetown. But SWAT team members standing by, again, their mission to certainly try and apprehend a suspect in this active shooter situation and certainly bring safety to this community. But again, dramatic pictures continuing to unfold as we watch live here from Tioga Nicetown.
All right, in regards to the 4 officers who have been confirmed shot in all of this, we're told that 3 of them are being treated at Temple, a 4th officer being treated at Einstein Hospital. Chopper 6 HD giving us this live view now of the neighborhood that has been on complete lockdown, going on now over an hour. Dozens of Philadelphia police officers are on this scene as they have been engaging an active shooter situation. And in that, 4 officers have been wounded in this. Again, though, their injuries said to be non-life-threatening. We are getting word of that. So with this situation at this point is still tense. It is not over. The heavy armored vehicle is on the scene, along with, of course, those tactical members right here in North Philadelphia.
Again, Chopper 6 over the scene, but again, a safe distance away from this very volatile situation. We will not zoom in. Okay. Now we're hearing that a 5th officer suffered a graze wound in this very volatile situation here in Tioga Nicetown. So 5 officers injured in this active shooter situation. And again, as I try to jog my memory, the last time multiple officers have been injured in one situation here, it has been a long time, so it's certainly a very dangerous day here in Philadelphia. But Philadelphia police certainly here in full force, trying to again bring some type of safety to this community of Tioga Nicetown. Again, we have been following this for over an hour now. If you're just joining us, 5 officers injured in what has again turned out to be an active shooter situation. So, sometime after 4:30 this morning, we're told shots fired, 1 officer was injured, then a 2nd officer. We've seen video that we will continue to show for you throughout the evening of officers who were rushed from the scene to the hospital. 3 officers being treated at Temple University Hospital, 1 officer at Einstein Hospital, and now a 5th, we're told. Again, we're continuing to look live from the scene here in Tioga Nicetown as police and officers, their colleagues, trying to bring some type of safety to this community as neighbors stand by and try to determine exactly what has happened to their neighborhood over the last several moments.
We see these officers wrapping their arms around each other. This is the camera of Action News reporter Maggie Kent, who's at 15th and Pacific, as we watch that group of officers that just left from the center of the scene. And one of the observations we can make, those officers who were probably among the first responders were probably those who weren't really in heavy enough equipment to remain on the scene to face a situation that's unfolding this intense and this dangerous. So we've seen them slowly bring out those officers who are not really dressed in the right material to really take on an active shooter, because we've seen the bullets striking buildings, ricocheting off the area as officers were being fired upon. So we've watched them very strategically move those tactical officers to the front lines, those who have the shields, those who have the long rifles, those who have the heavy body armor.
Certainly.
And now, of course, this live view from Chopper 6, the actual armored vehicle here on the street where they are still taking position. So that's what we see when you see some of those officers who are leaving in their shirts and their shorts. They just simply need to be switched out with those who can really respond to a situation of this magnitude. Let's go to Action News reporter Maggie Kent, who's at 15th and Pacific, right there, as close as can be to the scene. Maggie.
Shari, what you were just seeing, the officer that you described in the t-shirt and the shorts, I believe that was the officer that was grazed with his chew, and it also looked like he was holding his hand out. I can't say for sure because I haven't got it confirmed, but that live picture that you just saw, I believe, was one of the officers that was hit with a graze wound that we had just reported because he was walking off the scene, and it did seem as though he was injured. Again, those two officers putting their arms around him, his t-shirt was ripped, his pants were ripped, and he was holding one of his hands out. He did look distressed, but he did look okay. He was walking perfectly normal. They headed into a squad car and out of this situation. Now, I have to remind you, this is still a very active situation. We got here probably about a half an hour now, but we're still hearing shots, and that's why we've remained on the sidewalk over here. We're on the 3600 block of North 15th Street, on the other side of Erie is where all of this is happening. And as you can see, those officers are now lined up on the side of the wall right there. We're taking a live look at Chopper 6 over the SWAT team now, which is in the center of that 3700 block of North 15th Street. And they have a position right now where at least one
here are all the unknowns. They don't know at the time how many shooters they may be dealing with inside this home here in the Tioga Nicetown section. We'll continue to monitor it here in the newsroom. Rick and Shari.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And as we reach 6:02, we just want to remind our viewers this is Action News at 6. Rick Williams and Shari Williams in for Jim Gardner, who is off tonight. In case you're just joining us, we've been following an active shooter situation in Tioga Nicetown that has left at least 6 police officers injured.
This is all playing out in the Tioga Nicetown neighborhood along the 3700 block of North 15th Street. This all started around 4:30 this afternoon. Dozens of police officers swarmed a house there as they try to bring this situation to what they would like to call a peaceful end, but so far there has already been violence, of course, in this situation.
Certainly a community on lockdown, police officers trying to bring safety to this area as neighbors wondering exactly what's going on. We have an Action News reporters at the scene, a safe distance from the from ground zero, if you will. Action News reporter Maggie Kent standing by live a few blocks away. But again, Maggie, that yellow tape behind you indicative of the crime scene, but you are a safe distance, but can still report what you're hearing and what you're seeing at this hour.
Rick, that's exactly right. We're standing right up against the crime scene tape. This is where police need us to be right now. We're behind several parked cars and several squad cars, and we're about a block away. We're in the center of the 3600 block of North 15th Street, but the action is happening on the 3700 block of North 15th Street, and I want to show you the action of exactly what is happening. It sounded like there was another muffled gunshot from possibly inside the home, which is where all of the activity has. You can hear those gunshots, and you can see some of the officers get down to the ground. You can also hear the neighbors shout when they happen. It's not clear, again, if those gunshots are coming from police officer guns or the suspect or suspect's guns in this case, but again, the rounds keep firing. It's been probably the 6th or 7th time that I've heard gunshots. And again, SWAT team, it looks like they've made it inside the building, but those gunshots sound rather loud, which would be indicative of gunshots that possibly could be coming outside of the building at this time. So again, we're staying a safe distance away, but it's not clear where those shots are coming from and how many people these officers in SWAT are dealing with inside this building.
Yes, so many questions that still need to be answered because it is such a fluid, breaking situation. These officers assessing as much as they can as they face this dangerous situation, just as we have been watching it unfold here now for about 90 minutes now.
Action News reporter Bob Brooks also in that community, a safe distance from the scene, but also he's been talking to residents. He's heard the gunshots since he arrived just over an hour ago. And Bob, what has transpired since we last talked to you?
More gunfire. Just when we think this thing might be coming to an end, when we get a couple minutes of just a break from the gunfire, we start to hear more. You can see just behind me here, nothing has changed too much from when you last were here with me at the scene. We have dozens of police officers, SWAT team members surrounding
4th 15th Street. It rapidly escalated with shots being fired. One officer after another, the reports came in that they had suffered gunshot wounds. At the moment, that tally up to 6 Philadelphia police officers suffering gunshot wounds in the last 2 hours here in the 3700 block of North 15th Street. All these officers were responded here at the scene. Of course, they're concerned for their colleagues. You can see in this video here of them lined up, and they want them to move back at this point. There have been so many shots fired that they want some of those uniformed officers moved back. The SWAT team is right there on the scene at the moment, coordinating their efforts, trying to figure out how to bring this to a peaceful conclusion. It's been unclear throughout this. There have been so many unknowns, just how many shooters there may be inside this house. Bob Brooks talking to witnesses on this scene there who said they heard dozens upon dozens of shots being fired. We watched extraordinary live pictures of Philadelphia police officers diving for cover behind cars parked there on the street, and we could see the bullets ricocheting off the pavement as they took cover. Unfortunately, some of them came into the line of fire, and as they exchanged shots, they were shot. 6 of them here in the city of Philadelphia this afternoon. This all started at about 4:30 this afternoon. We started to hear the reports here in the newsroom of these shots being fired. Police officers converged there on the scene, and then the SWAT team called in for reinforcements. They moved in one of those large vehicles that they can take cover behind, duck behind, as this gunfire continued to come. But they won't rush this. They will wait out whoever is in this house and do their best they can to bring this to a peaceful resolution. Information continues to come in. We'll bring it to you as we get it. Shari and Rick.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And again, just to reiterate, this may have all started of a warrant being served at the address here in the 3700 block of North 15th Street. Again, we're looking live from one of our various cameras at the scene. A SWAT team, a heavy SWAT team presence as we await this dramatic moments continuing to unfold here in Tiger and Icetown. And actually, reporter Maggie Ken is also standing by at the scene at that position, but certainly safe away to be able to let us know exactly what's going on in that community. Maggie, what do you see and what do you hear for us right now?
Rick, it has gotten eerily quiet here. I'm standing directly next to the camera, so I'm seeing exactly what everyone else is seeing on their screens right now. The SWAT team still outside of this building where the suspect or suspects are inside, but the noise level has gone completely down, and that's because we can hear officers yelling commands right now. They're yelling, "Come out with your hands up, come out with your hands up," repeating that over and over again. Obviously, we have not heard anyone or seen anyone coming out, and of course we would bring that to you as soon as we do. But again, the whole operation has quieted. We haven't heard gunshots in quite a while now, which is good news. But we do keep hearing officers yell, "Come out with your hands up, come out with your hands up," and that's all directed towards the home where the SWAT team is standing outside. There are still plenty of officers, uniformed officers, on our side of the street. We're of course a safe distance away, but a lot of officers just want to know what's happening, what's going on. Of course, they're concerned as 6 of their fellow officers have been injured now, and this scene is still very active. But again, I just want to stress this is still going on, and they're still trying to communicate with whoever may be inside of that house. They're still yelling commands